who would just like
Castaway, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
This will offer something completely different and open up everyone's eyes as to what exploration and finding out who you are. It's like nothing else.
I don't want it to hold back. I want the true experience. Marlin strikes, capsizes. I want it to be a challenge. That's what I'm here for.
Incredible.
That was the last time experience. Did you see enjoy celebration the whole way? Going through insanity!
Okay,
But
because you want to keep it longer.
I'm going to keep like a big beard, yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're going to come back. Like, how long are you going to be gone for?
Like 2 months, I think.
Was more than the last time.
Yeah, probably. So last time it was 41 days.
41. Okay.
Yeah, to do the Atlantic row.
Gotcha.
And that was from La Gomera in the Canary Islands to Antigua in the Caribbean.
Okay, cool.
So that was 41 days, but going around the UK is harder. So I actually found out that it's got a 30% success rate to finish it.
Okay.
So 70% of people who try it fail.
And then how many of you was like 3?
Yeah, so we're doing it as a free. It's never been done before as a free. So it's usually done as a team of 6.
This is kind of like a type of sport or?
So like ocean rowing. It's just what it's called, yeah.
Okay.
So the last one was an event that's called the World's Toughest Row.
Okay.
And they organise the Atlantic and they do a Pacific one as well. And then this time it's going to be independent. So it's not a race. We're not in an event. We're just doing it ourselves with our own boat.
Okay. But the first one was an event, but now it's like you said, it's very independent. And then, but still like 3 of you, or you're gonna have like more people? Or...
Yeah, still 3 people this time, but different guys, a new team.
What about that guy who just like came at the last minute because he's out, and then your old friend, he's back?
No. So I'm
It's
gonna.
Different one.
Yeah, both of the guys are new guys.
Okay.
So they'd already started a team. It was 3 guys in their 50s originally. And then one of them over Christmas had a bit of a heart thing.
Right.
So if he has that on the boat, he won't be able to get help. So he's decided not to do that.
Gotcha.
So I'm taking his place basically, which is lucky.
Okay.
So it was a good opportunity that came up.
Yeah. And then, as I said, like you told me, like, I'm not sure, but you said if you guys make that happen, this is gonna last a little longer than the first one, 41 day, and then this time is gonna be.
Could be 60 days. We can't really go longer than 60 days because we're only taking enough food to do that.
Right.
So if it got to the point where we weren't gonna make the 60 days, you have to start rationing food and stuff like that.
You can't store that much food anyways, right?
Yeah.
I believe because it's a tiny, like a place, so you can't place everything there, right?
Yeah, it's quite a small boat. Yeah, it's got like little hatches and lockers you can store stuff in.
Okay, and then if you pull that off, you're gonna get yourself into the record book.
Yeah, if we finish
Amazing,
it,
man.
we'll be Guinness World Record.
I believe you will finish, man. Yeah, you've been doing some little training. How do you prepare yourself for that?
Yeah, so doing lots of weights this time around, cardio. Like just row machines, a couple of row machine sessions a week, some running sessions, but lots of strength training, lots of weights this time. I didn't do as much weights the first time and I found that was like the hardest bit. It was just your body just not being able to cope with the stress of it.
Right.
Really wears you down.
You need to, but you need to put some weight then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously Yeah, I believe so. Okay, interesting. Oh man, just the idea of it is driving me crazy already because it's a short food, I think. Because I don't know, man, how it's gonna. You guys make that up, like I don't know. It's very brave.
Oh, no, I appreciate
you,
that.
it's very brave. All this kind of like. What about the storms though? Like if you guys catch it, how do you guys control it? Because you're gonna be like in the open, sea.
Yeah.
How do you can control like eventually like storms or whatever it is, something might happen. How do you guys will be able to manage that?
So what we're going to do, basically, we're trying to do as much as we can to make sure there's no failure or any risk. So we're trying to be super safe. So every day we'll set up a passage plan, which is basically just figuring out how far we can travel, and then along that route, checking the weather, checking for hazards, and we look for points where we can anchor.
Okay.
So we're not allowed to stop on land, but we're allowed to put our anchor down to help us.
Okay.
So if it gets a bit risky, we'll try and get shelter somewhere where we're sheltered from like land, that sort of thing.
Right.
We've also got a different type of anchor called a power anchor. It's like a giant parachute. So if you're being pushed towards like the rocks or something and you can't stop the boat, you put this massive parachute out and it slows the boat down.
Okay.
Which buys you a little bit more time.
Interesting.
So there was actually a team in 2022. They were doing the same row as a team of 6. And as they were going through the Irish Sea, which is notoriously dangerous, the weather it could have gone either way. It could have been fine, or it could have been really bad. And it went really bad. And they were completely stuck out in the middle of it. So they were trying to do whatever they could to slow the boat down. So they were throwing out buckets, ropes, power anchor, because they were heading towards land.
Okay.
And then they basically had to call for rescue. So they actually had to coordinate 2 oil tankers to come and block either side of the boat to settle the water down. And when a helicopter came and flew over above them, and they had to get off that boat onto one of the rescue boats, one of the oil tankers, and then the helicopter was there in case someone fell in. So they had to be rescued off the boat and abandon the boat that year.
Right.
But the crazy thing is they were able to recover the boat 2 days later. They made some minor repairs to it and then they finished the trip.
They finished.
They got back on the boat and finished it, yeah.
Wow,
which is
man.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, been through all of that and then managed to finish the trip still. So yeah, need to congrat them.
Yeah, a lot of people wouldn't have got back on that boat, I can imagine.
I would. I mean, I wouldn't be there in the first place. Jesus Christ. Yeah. What like a kind of like eventually things then might be happen? What about the one thing that I like the most? I like sharks. How do you guys have you seen the many sharks that you if you see it like some of those, if you had seen the first time, scare you a little bit or you were fine with that? How did you feel about it?
Yeah, so I think when we did the Atlantic, we saw one shark. I'm fairly certain it was a shark, but we couldn't actually get a camera in quick enough to see it and it just kind of swam off. But we saw like a 12-foot long swordfish, a marlin, and it was stalking the boat. That was quite scary because they actually attack the boats. Well, they try and get fish that are hiding under the boats, and they miss, and when they strike it, their beak penetrates the boat and makes a massive hole in it.
Is it?
Yeah.
But you guys managed to repair like some.
So we luckily we managed to get rid of it, so we scared it off. But there was other teams who were out there who got hit one got hit 3 times by 3 different marlins, and they had to repair it. They actually started to run out of repair kit to deal with it. So that's probably scarier than the sharks. The sharks, they're not too bothered by
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What
was that like? Do you record something like when I last saw you? Did you guys swim with?
Yeah, so I've got a video with the whales. So
the whales.
Yeah, so that was 7 days into that row. At this point, we were all pretty miserable. It was difficult. We were hungry, tired. Like your body's still kind of adjusting to it. the shift patterns.
But it's fine for you to swim with them, like.
Yeah. So day 7. This is when the whales turn up, basically. So I was rowing along. I saw a fin on the wave. Immediately
Right.
thought it was a shark. My heart completely sank, and I was shouting, "Shark, shark!" So everyone came to have a look, and obviously it had moved by this point. So I carried on rowing for a bit. A few minutes later, another one popped up. I shouted out again to look, and they looked again. It wasn't there. And then finally, a third time, something popped up, and then there was like a massive air and water spray.
Right.
And that was when we figured out it was actually whales that were around the boat. And when it was a pod of about 20 whales, I think we ended up seeing.
How many?
20. There was about 20 of
Whoa.
them. And it was a couple of humpback whales
Christ.
and then blue whales, which I found out were infant blue whales. So they were 40 foot long, but they're babies basically. And they're huge. Like, I could imagine if they hit into you, you're probably in trouble. But
Yeah, man. They could like take you guys out like easily, no?
But they must have wanted to just come and visit to see us, because if they didn't want to be seen, you just never know they were there. So they must have been really curious about the boat, and that's when we got into actually swim with them, which was really cool. It was about a couple of foot away from us. Literally, you could almost put your hand out and touch them. It was incredible.
But as you swim with them, there is no like, as long as you're like into the water, and then there is like no, way for the sharks come along as well, because
I think they
with
scare
them-
off the sharks.
is it?
Yeah, because whales
they're way
are the
bigger
apex.
than
Yeah, they're like the top of the chain.
Oh, fair enough. Because sometimes, like, I watched the other day, like, about marine life, and then I was watching some stuff about sharks as well, and then they can, like, the big ones that always attract, like, other ones as well, and then when there is, like, a massive, like, food around, they can attract, like, whales, and then also the sharks. That's why I was wondering, like, when you guys was out there and into the water, it can be tricky.
Yeah, well, we had to get in to clean the boat a few times, and you do worry that there might be a shark or something, but we didn't bother looking. You just get in and clean the boat as quick as you can. So there could have been something around, but we just never saw it because we weren't looking for it.
Okay.
I think they're definitely more common in the Pacific rather than the Atlantic. I think there's a lot more of like a lot more sharks and stuff like that.
But how do you feel about it? You feel tense? Kind of.
You worry a bit when you're out there, yeah. Just in case if something turns up, and jellyfish as well is another one to watch out for.
Okay.
You don't want to get hit by any jellyfish when you're in the middle of nowhere, which actually happened to me. One of the times we got visited, there was a pod of dolphins.
Right.
So I stuck the camera in to have a look at them, and I had this weird string on my hand. I couldn't figure out what it was. And then like a bit later in the day, I noticed like a rash on my hand.
Okay.
So it occurred to me it must be a jellyfish. But apparently dolphins play with jellyfish and throw them. So I'm almost wondering if one of the dolphins threw a jellyfish.
Oh, okay.
Which is a bit crazy.
That bad. Yeah, man, there's a lot of things can happen in there, man. Now, good luck with that. But I'm interested to hear like the next one, like stories of how it's gonna be like, how do you survive about like it's gonna be 60 days, man. Now this time.
Yeah, the wildlife, it'll be interesting because it'll be completely different wildlife around the UK. So there's some orcas. There's a few around the west coast. Apparently there's a pod of 13 orcas. So it'd be really nice to see them.
But what about the walkers? I heard like they kind of tricky, because they can be dangerous. Then they're very smart.
Yeah, they're incredible. They've been attacking boats in certain places.
Then they work like together as a group. How are you gonna manage to do that?
Yeah.
Is no one scared about it?
To be fair, I think they'll leave us alone because we're not loud. We're like very unintrusive. I think they just don't like the loud boats going around them. So I think we'll be okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I want to see some videos if you manage to to catch some, you know.
Oh, for sure. I'd love to swim with orcas if I had an opportunity to do it. I don't think it will work out the same, but if I can, I will.
I don't know, man. How big they can be, like. I have an idea. Have you seen them before?
Not
Like-
in real life. I've never seen one. No, just on
No?
TV. But they're pretty
Right.
massive.
I bet.